you can't keep taking the hits to make other people succeed and you're not growing yourself.
Welcome everyone to the latest episode of the Wise Agent Society's National Real Estate News. This is actually episode 17. We have an amazing guest and friend of mine coming out of the Idyllwild, California, and also, would you say Indio or Palm Springs?
Or Palm Springs, Greater Palm Springs.
Greater Palm Springs area. This is Miss Paige Maccio Shay?
Yes.
That's in there too, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming today. You look lovely, and I'm excited to talk to you today.
I'm excited.
Good deal. So we actually, Paige and I go way back to the days of San Diego, working in restaurants together. Do we dare say which restaurant?
Yes, I think we should.
I think so.
Wax that onion. I mean, but I think we need to set the foundation that you were my boss.
Me?
Yes, you were the manager and I was a little server, and
I was the boss of something?
You were the boss. So, the relationship started in a little area called El Cajon.
El Cajon, that is where we met.
Yes, Parkway Plaza, El Cajon. We were at the Applebee's there.
At the Applebee's, yes. Did you work at another Applebee's with me too, or just that one?
Just that one.
Okay, I can't remember. I worked at like 7 different Applebee's, so sometimes I get, and then sometimes servers would move to different stores, not necessarily with me, but just coincidentally. Sure. And so I couldn't remember, but yeah, so we had a lot of fun times at the Bees, the Applebee's family. I just posted. Did you happen to see my picture I posted on Facebook the other day?
It was you and 2 others, but it was from a different store, right?
Yep, that one was Plaza Bonita, so that one's down by the border of Mexico.
Yes.
But yeah, isn't that funny? That's how I looked back then, right?
Yeah.
Like pretty. I wasn't clean shaven, but it was a lot smaller, and
right.
And just, and it was a lot. My whole everything was a lot smaller.
Sure. I think both of us.
Yeah, right. We're getting up there. We're not as spry as we once were.
Right.
But no, so many good memories from Applebee's, and I'm grateful for your friendship and all this time. And then it's funny because somewhere in there I got into real estate, and somewhere in there you got into real estate, and then we've also worked together then over the years with referrals, client referrals, and such. Yeah.
Well, I mean, when I jumped in, I think 2012.
2012 is when you started, huh?
Yeah, 2012. And actually, I messaged you. You were my first message because you got into real estate.
Yep, only a couple of years before that. I was only a little ahead of you.
Right. And I said, so what do I need to do? I want to get my license. And then you kind of helped me get that started. So that's how this kind of all took off.
Yeah, that's great. For some reason, I forgot that it was that you did it so, that you did it that long ago.
Yeah.
But I was probably in Las Vegas then, of course, at that time, which is where I started, which is funny. And then later I went to California as well. And so where did you start in real estate, and why did you decide to get into real estate in the first place?
Well, I think it kind of had to do more with personal family stuff. I was going through a divorce at the time. I had 2 younger kids. Being in the industry, wine industry, no matter where you were, the hours were never conducive to kids,
family,
the late nights, we know how those go. And so I kind of was looking for something to offset those great tips, but allow me time. So I decided to get my real estate license. It started in here in the Greater Palm Springs area. And then I met my now husband in 2013, and he had already had his license for probably 6 years at that point, or 7 years. He had already been an agent for a while. And then we just teamed up and built a team, and the rest is history. Here we are.
Yeah, no, I've watched your story and stuff unfold over the time. And I feel like you just keep getting more and more successful. You keep blooming and blossoming and growing your business in a really cool way. So it's cool to see you being a badass boss lady out there. Slaying it.
That's what we like to call it.
Well, I mean, you are, correct me if I'm wrong, you're the current president of the Association of Idyllwild?
Yes, Idyllwild Board of Realtors.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I currently am, I've been asked to come on for another year. So I will be the 2024.
Congratulations.
And, hopefully it'll be a good year. We've had some things going on up on the hill, as we call it. And hopefully we have kind of set a good foundation this year to move forward and help, especially with everything that's going on right now in the industry, and we're a smaller community up there. So we have only about 54 agents in the membership.
That's what I was going to ask is 54. Boy, that is a cozy, tight-knit community. What's the population of Idyllwild in general?
I wish I could tell you. It kind of fluctuates because it's more of a vacation destination. You do have about, I would say 40% is primary homeowners. Okay. And then the rest are secondary or short-term. So it's always been a vacation community, but things rolling down with the new STRs, every county, every city kind of wants to make their own regulations on it, right? So I think
short-term rental is what you mean by STR.
Yes, STR. Sorry, short-term rentals. So as those things start coming down, it tends to affect areas such as Idyllwild. Because it's a lot of the local livelihood. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. So it gets tricky when you start talking about regulation for that, which is pretty prevalent in like even San Diego and any kind of bigger or desirable city. But I think even more so in smaller communities, mountain vacation home communities like you're talking about.
And I think that, there's a lot more levels to it when you're unincorporated. So for those who don't know, unincorporated is we don't have city hall. We don't have a mayor. We don't have things that would, as like a city could make their own regulations. So now we're going kind of broader, and we have to adhere to county regulations. And county regulations tends to be on a broader scale and not fitting us all individually, but more into a bigger box, which smaller communities don't tend to fit. So like, for instance, we're being lumped in with Temecula and stuff going on with Temecula because that's our close proximity, right? And so it makes it difficult.
Yeah, that would be difficult. And I did not know that. I guess I couldn't think of what else you would be lumped in with, but yeah, crazy. So then also just popped into my head, I would imagine then you don't have like a police department, or you just probably have a sheriff that comes around?
We do. We have CHP. We do have sheriff. We have 4 fire departments.
4? Yeah, I suppose you need to in the dry forest of California.
Well, we're pretty close to things. We have Cal Fire. Okay, Station 23, that's in Pine Cove, 3 miles from town. We have Idyllwild Fire Department, which is local downtown. Mountain Center, which is just literally 15 minutes. Anza, which is 20 minutes. So, I mean, we have close proximity to
a lot of places. Yeah, which is, I guess I didn't realize that either, how close to a lot of stuff you are there. Do you know what the elevation is in Idyllwild? Just curious.
We range from 4,000 to 6,000.
Oh, so
yeah, I mean, we still consider Pine Cove as being part of Idyllwild. That's part of the community. We actually hyphenate Idyllwild Pine Cove.
Okay.
Pine Cove is 6,000 feet. So higher elevation, when you're in that little community, you get more snow, harder to get off.
That's what I was going to ask. Mm-hmm. Does it snow in Idyllwild too then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like lots of snow, like sometimes?
Yeah. I mean, we had pretty big snowstorms, couple feet of snow. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that is good.
Faster though. We do, the snow doesn't tend to linger too long.
Which is kind of nice, probably. So you get a little bit of both, the best of both worlds.
Sure. All seasons.
Yeah. And you're not getting buried in for like days, maybe with a.
Well, I think I think this last year it was May May was the previous year it was Father's Day was the last snow. So you kind of get over it at a certain point, like stop snowing or ready for a different, season. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Last year was a big year for precipitation in California in general. So, right.
Yeah.
Which was probably good because I think it needed it and probably filled up some reservoirs and stuff like that around, which was probably helpful for fires and stuff, I would imagine. But for people living and trying to enjoy their lives, it gets old.
Sure.
Not as old as it does in Iowa now, which we're loving it, but winter can be really long here. But we really do love it. But most people don't around here, and we're just like, we're tired of the beach. We don't want that anymore. We're more into this, and people are like, you're crazy. I'm like, I don't know. I live at the beach and by the ocean for so long. It just
change of scenery is always good.
Exactly. So I enjoy the seasons as well.
Yeah.
So started at it was HomeSmart where you started, right?
Yes. My husband's still there. He's the designated broker for HomeSmart in the
big
Valley.
Office.
3 offices, about 500 agents locally. So pretty much, one of the largest brokerages in the Valley.
Yeah, that's a big brokerage for anywhere, I would think.
Yeah. So started there and we started our team. I think almost 3 years ago, he got offered a broker opportunity to take over. So he took that on, and then I took over our team. Mm-hmm. And we did very well. I think it was just a lot of things that I wanted to see where else I could grow and spread my wings and move on. And Compass became an opportunity. So decided to do that. I don't have the team anymore, but we're thinking about building something. I don't know if it's going to come to light or if it's going to come together, but it's been different. You used to working with a team, being the team leader, and then becoming a single agent. It's had its adjustments. Yeah.
I've done that in different ways and different, realms a bunch of times. So I know exactly what you mean. It would have its challenges either way, right? Working with a bunch of people has its challenges, and working and motivating and organizing and managing people like that is one thing, and then doing stuff on your own is different. I just like having homies with me whenever I do anything. So I like the idea of having a team, but then there's also the trade-off where it's work, it's management.
It is, and I think again, 10 years of being in a team capacity, and that's all you've known. I mean, you learn as you go and you grow, and then you tweak, and then you learn better ways to do it, right? But I think my aha transitioning from a team to a single agent, it kind of was a moment of, wow, I'm actually a little bit better on my own. I was doing the bulk of the business anyway. And so it's just been kind of that.
Yeah, no. And that's, I think, is the exact key to it is that, so historically I've built big teams and then big team, small, big, it goes like this, right? And so I would build, never huge, but like, let's say 5-6 agents or something. And then I lose money. And then it all blows up for some reason, and then it goes back down, and then it's just me. And then I make a lot of money, and then I try to do it, and then less money. You know what I mean? So I think ultimately is finding the balance there of, building a team, but also everybody making money and all that. But I do know what you mean. And it is a lot simpler when you're on your own, where you're just focusing on your own stuff.
I think it is. I mean, the things that I miss, I think, are the collaboration, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always nice. I think I'm one of those team leaders that wants the best for everyone on the team. And then you take less in order to create that sense of loyalty, so to speak, the camaraderie, the people who will do anything for you because they truly value you as a team leader. You're looking out for their best interest versus yours. Mm-hmm. Then you go on the other aspect of it, of being the team leader. And it's like, well, this really isn't the best for you in the sense of like, you can't keep taking the hits to make other people succeed, and you're not growing yourself.
Yeah.
I think that it's trying to find that healthy balance. And if you haven't known anything else, stepping into a single agent position, I mean, I think it's just another way to learn.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure you'll do well. And like I said, and here's another thing is you're so kind. I know this of you because I've known you a long time, is that I know that you're genuinely kind and care about other people. And that's what probably made you such a great team leader. And I do understand how you can get probably a little lost in that or unbalanced in that. So this is probably good for you to be able to just focus on you and get that stuff going. And then you can add in other people to love on too later.
Exactly.
Which is really smart. And that's another good way to put it is having a successful team or business in general. I think it's the people that love on people the best are the ones that are most successful. I know that's not the case all the time because there are some very non-lovey team setups and stuff, and that's fine too. Maybe people don't want to be loved on, but I think what's that?
And they're very successful.
Some of them, yes. So there's different ways to do it, but I prefer the way that you do it as well, is to have more love and caring and genuine caring about the people that we work with and uplifting everybody. Well,
I think that goes back to like maybe even the customer service days, being in the restaurant industry. Mm-hmm. Like it is so important for that short period of time that you're with that guest, to make an impression, to make them feel like it was a good experience. I think it goes into, now being in real estate, the same with clients. You have a short period of time, like for a listing example, to make an impression, to seem genuine when you're walking into a scenario that you don't have a very long period of time to make that impression. Right. So having to come across who you are in a very short period of time, I think people can kind of struggle with that a little bit. Yeah. And being a part of a team, especially for a newer agent, if you are with a seasoned agent that is successful, it gives you kind of a leg up. Mm-hmm. It really does in the industry than having to go about it on your own.
Yeah, it shortens the learning curve, I say, because you can just jump into their systems and their things and learn from them instead of trying to figure it all out or sift through all the training that your brokerage might have. Sure. And like sometimes, depending on what brokerage you're at, it can be overwhelming, the amount of training. And some of it's necessary and some of it's not, right? So having somebody that guides you and like say, here are actual proven money-making activities is what I like to call them. Mm-hmm. So focus on these things and do it this way and you'll see success. And I love, and I've said it for a long time, I always use the restaurant scenario as an example. So I love it that you did that because you're right. Like you learn how to build rapport like instantly with people in a restaurant. So if you're in a busy restaurant or bartender or wherever you're at, you're meeting people at a very high capacity, right? You're having tons of new relationships per day, every day, all week long. And there's been times when I've worked at 2 restaurants at the same time, or even 3. I've worked at like 2 restaurants and a bar, all in the same day, even.
Yeah.
Like shift after shift after shift. And it's like, that's what so I think people that come from that background do a really good job because they can build relationships and connections with people really quickly. And I know you were really good at that. You were always really good at connecting with people and, being an excellent customer service provider. And that's why you were successful at that. And that's why you're successful at what you do now.
Yeah. I think also, it's relating back to that commitment, because, there's so many people that are looking at, like say a server position as like, this is just the stop along the road, like get in, get out, right? My shift is over. Okay, bye. And then you'd be the shift leader or whatever it was called, would be the one picking up the pieces at the end of the night. I remember pulling those gosh darn booths out and having to like sweep behind these booths for hours after everyone is
who
left.
Would make you do that?
Oh, I don't know, but I think it goes hand in hand with this, because you have to be dedicated to your business, constantly wanting to learn, constantly wanting to have an edge somehow in order to continue to grow. If you're not open, if you're not plugging in, if you're not seeing where you are weak and trying to get strength there somehow, even if it's bringing on a team member or collaborating with someone who has that strength that you need, to kind of teach that. So
yeah, I think you touched on a couple things there. So always learning and always improving your skills is important, because you could just get stagnant and and then you meet people throughout all the time, like, I've been in this industry for 25 years or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, but how many houses have you sold? Like time in the industry means nothing if you're not, I've sold more houses than lots of people in, 1 year that they've done in their whole career. And so my point of that is that if you're not learning and improving and getting more reps in, then you're probably not. Well, I mean, there are different levels of success, right? But you can't manage it just on time only. It's what you put in and how you learn and how you grow and what you do there. And then when you were talking about sweeping behind the booths and stuff at a restaurant, what's that?
Dedication and pride in your work, I guess.
Yeah, but there's, I guess another way to look at that is there's behind the scenes things that you have to do that maybe aren't glamorous and upfront and in the public eye, that you're doing to take care of your business. So when you're cleaning your tables and cleaning your stuff at the end of a shift, that's just like what you're doing at home when we're not with our clients in the real estate world. We're taking care of paperwork. We're taking care of marketing. We're taking care of bills and expenses and looking at our P&L. And then also all the tracking we have to do. And that's what you were talking about too, like looking back on where you're at and where's my weakness and how can I improve, or who can I partner with that can fill in the gaps that I'm not good at. Right? Because there's lots of stuff I'm not good at, and I don't pretend that I am good at it. I'm like, here, this is a person that can do this. I cannot.
Right.
And
I think that there's not a lot of agents that have, say, a husband or a wife who is a broker who you can lean on and, get a lot of insight from there. But cool. Where I think I was most weak is probably systems and finding out the right kind of systems to put in place. So leaning on people who had their systems down pat, like learning from them, what is going to make something work.
Yep. Yeah. It's all about systems, and I'm always playing with systems, tweaking systems, and that's ever evolving too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So very good. I was going to say, let's maybe, here it is. So you're a part of actually 2 different kind of markets. You work out of, or even maybe more, but 2 main markets.
2 main markets.
And so you'd say the Greater Palm Springs area.
Okay,
so
that's the makeup of 9 cities.
Okay, yeah. Tell us more about that one, and then the differences between that and Idyllwild, maybe.
Okay. Well, Palm Springs obviously is Palm Springs, but then you have Cat City, Rancho Mirage, or Cathedral City, sorry, Rancho Mirage, Palm Desert.
I was lost on that one too. Cat City, huh? I've never heard of that one.
You're right. Indian Wells, which is a big one. Palm Desert, of course, people know. Indio, Coachella, thermal.
Coachella, yeah.
So you kind of have these makeup of 9 cities that are together.
And what's that area like? I know what it is, but I mean, for people out there, what's the terrain like? What is it?
Well, like? It's desert. I mean, but you have golf courses, you have oasis, desert, hiking. I mean, very close proximity when we're in this valley, but you're so close to everything. I think if you go the back way, you're 2.5 hours from San Diego beach. Okay. You are 45 minutes to an hour to the mountain. Okay? If you wanted to go to a bigger ski resort, you're 2.5 hours away at Big Bear. So we're pretty close. Arizona is 4 hours. So it's just.
How far to LA? Just curious.
About 3 hours. But I mean, obviously we know that can be up and down depending on the traffic there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a hit or miss. But you're in this situation where you could be at the beach, you could be at the mountains, and still be in the desert in a short period of time. What is like Palm Springs known for, or Coachella, or places like that? What I know, but I mean, can you explain to people what happens in those places? I think Palm Springs is iconic for what used to be the spring break, right? People would come down for spring break, and they'd go down South Palm Canyon, stay at the different resorts there. Obviously, Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack, like that was really huge for Palm Springs. It's kind of what created Palm Springs, so to speak.
Yeah. It's kind of a playground for some of Hollywood and LA type peeps. And
you have gorgeous properties. I mean, you have old iconic Hollywood homes. And the thing I really like about Palm Springs is that they kind of name their sections like Old Movie Colony, like they have signs, and it kind of tells you where you are, which is kind of nice.
That is cool.
Then you come down, like, let's pick Palm Desert, for instance, like El Paseo. That's where all the high-end shops are. You can go down one street and you've got restaurant shops, nightlife. Okay. And then, of course, if we go all the way to the far East Valley is Coachella, which we're known for our music festivals. But it's not really in Coachella. It's more Indio. So Indio is where Coachella Fest is. So we've got polo grounds. So we've got polo clubs. Of course, the concerts, Power Trip that just happened, AC/DC, Tool, Metallica. They were just here a couple weeks ago. So that was kind of cool.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And now we have something even bigger in the valley called the Azure Arena. We got the Firebirds now for hockey, and bringing in some huge names for venues. Kiss was just here last night playing there. So
wow. Yeah. So it's continually growing in that area too, probably a lot. It sounds like.
I would say, I mean, and now we're getting over 6,000 homes with the new Disney project that's coming to Rancho Mirage.
What's that?
The Disney project, it's going to be super cool. It's 3 different builders that are creating this huge subdivision. And it's going to have a hotel.
Okay.
And then a resort-like feel. They are going to have a beach that you're going to, people can check into for a resort feel. They're going to have condos, 55 and older section. There's going to be 2 clubs, one private for residents, one for the public if they wanted to come.
What kind of club?
Restaurants, probably golf and
like a country club.
Activities, yes.
Ish. Not like a
No, not a dance club.
Okay.
But yeah, and so that's the biggest project. It's supposed to have its first home releases this coming year, 2024.
Okay. And then when do they start on the hotel and all of that, roughly?
They've already begun doing the project. So
wow.
It's coming. I mean, I'm sure it's going to take a couple of years to develop, but there's going to be lagoons and walking paths, and it's going to be pretty awesome. It's supposed to be based off of like the actual clubhouse itself. That is going to be a restaurant clubhouse is based off of the Incredibles house in the Disney Pixar.
Like modern-ish, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, very, very cool.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. So, and it's a Disney project.
Mm-hmm.
And where is that? Did you say El Mirage?
Rancho Mirage.
Rancho Mirage. Where is that compared to Indio or Palm Springs and all that?
So you pretty much are in the middle.
That one is?
Mm-hmm. So you've got Palm Springs to the west and Indio to the east. Rancho Mirage is kind of right in the middle. So
perfect.
Through Palm Desert, you're in Rancho Mirage. So it's just stuck between Cathedral City and Palm Desert.
Is it near where all of the I remember all the windmills? There's a huge windmill farm right somewhere in there.
So that's more towards Palm Springs, but and you hit a lot of them coming through the Morongo Valley before you hit Palm Springs. So
cool.
That's a little bit farther out.
Okay. And are you born and raised in Indio?
No, San Diego.
It is San Diego.
Yeah.
I just couldn't remember because I know you have a lot of family in the Indio area.
Yeah. My grandparents came out here in the 50s. My grandfather was mayor of Indio for several years. He's the one who wrote the contract between Golden Voice and the city to bring Coachella Fest.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, he's the original mayor who wrote that 20-year contract, getting Coachella to the valley, bringing Indio some acknowledgement.
Some life.
Yes.
Some coolness. Well, that's probably partly where you get all of your relationship building tools, because it sounds like, people say people are the mayor of wherever when they're not really, because they know a lot of people and talk to a lot of people.
Sure.
So your grandfather was actually the mayor, and so you probably get some of those social skills and stuff from him too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I think that I think maybe it's probably attributed to being in the restaurant industry at such a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was my career before real estate, 16 years. So
yeah. Well, I wanted to bring up too, it's funny that coincidentally, you worked at Ramsgate. Is that right? Didn't we talk about that?
Yeah, winery in Sonoma. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is where my good friend from my hometown now runs it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Christopher Miller is his name, and super cool cat. But did you run the whole show there, or were you like the sommelier?
No, I was a som for them, a tasting room sommelier. So that was cool. We opened it in 2011, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah,
years.
That's a really cool property. It's really pretty around there and all of that. But
and the ownership and the attention to detail. I mean, cobblestones from France and Wisconsin snow fence for the exterior, and Carrara marble and the inside and the tasting room. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Mm-hmm. But not to mention, I will give them a shout out. Probably some of the best wine I've had. They really are attention to detail. And I know that they've partnered with Jeff Gaffner a few times, and it was a cool experience.
Yeah, I had no idea. I don't remember how we got to talking about it, but I was there. I did some San Francisco stuff. We did some Sonoma stuff, and visiting, people that I know. I know people in San Francisco, and then also Sausalitos.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know where that is?
Sausalito?
Yeah, Sausalito, just south of San Francisco. So we visited a friend there. He owns a little deli thing there, and he's like it was cool bouncing around there. But then I thought it was really cool when you were saying, yeah, I worked at Ramsgate. I was like, what? What are the odds?
Yeah,
funny.
I would take
small world.
all the way to work. What I loved about it, it was something I never knew when I moved there, being used to, oh no, the industry starts at 4, but this was kind of reversed. Like, no, you're there at 8 and then you're done by 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And so you're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And then I don't know if there's a lot to do past that anywhere. It's
right.
kind of sleepy at night, huh?
Yeah. Unless you go to a restaurant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, pretty cool. And cool that you did that in quite a few places at a pretty high level as far as fine dining or fine wining.
Yeah. I think once you get the passion for mise en place and doing different things at a higher level, it's just like, okay, what's next?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I'm glad that was part of your journey to where you are now, because obviously you're killing it, you're slaying it, and it's fun to watch and exciting to see. Mm-hmm. So what do you think the population in India or that whole in Palm Springs area is roughly? So if we said,
well, I would say more than 100,000, probably 300,000 people. I mean, but Coachella brings in 80,000 people, for a weekend.
Yeah.
So it's all relative. And we're starting to see more families coming in now, mm-hmm. not so what we call snowbirds that, mm-hmm.
Just
come in for the winter.
Yep.
Because we're so nice out here. We're cool weather, but we don't have snow. So mm-hmm. it's kind of, a playground in, nicer weather where you don't have to be super bundled up to enjoy activities. And
the summers are pretty warm though, right?
Yes. 120 degrees at our hottest, 122 degrees. And, I think where it used to be really dry, where you would suck in and you just feel the hot in your lungs, it's starting to feel like there's more humidity in the air now. So it makes it even worse.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if we're going the good way here.
Right? It's not. Well, this year was good because you are almost like, well, are we going to hit those highs? Is it going to feel really hot? Mm-hmm. And I think there was maybe a couple of weeks of that, and then it kind of tapered off. So it's not as bad as it's been.
Yeah. I mean, just when you're talking about it, and of course I've been there, but it's not exactly, but I think weather-wise-ish, it's sort of got a Vegas kind of vibe as far as weather goes.
Sure. I mean, I think it's probably a little bit nicer. Vegas feels like it gets colder than we do.
True.
But yeah.
It's really windy.
We have things that you can do for fun out here. And, mm-hmm. But anytime it gets super hot, that's the whole point that Idyllwild came along. Mm-hmm. You're going to 15 to 20 degrees cooler.
Yep.
You're not, the highs are in the 90s in the mm-hmm. summertime, and that's, few and far between, so it's still much cooler than being in the valley. And for me, it's a 45-minute drive up the hill, mm-hmm. and then you're
little escape.
Exactly.
A little escape with pretty trees, and
you literally go from palm trees to pine trees in 45 minutes.
That's crazy. Vegas, coincidentally, also has Mount Charleston, which is the same thing, which is weird. But so you got the Valley, which has tons of restaurants, shopping, probably anything you'd ever need, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Costco and like you said,
mm-hmm,
all that. And then up the hill, as you say, is more cozy. And is there some like restaurants and shopping? And
oh, yeah. It's just they're not a big box community. There'll mm-hmm. never be a big box. You're not going to see a Costco ever go in. Mm-mm. I mean, we don't even have street lights. So
wow.
We have stop signs, but no street lights. Okay. It is a quaint mountain town. Mm-hmm. I've seen over the last couple of years an influx of San Diego and LA buyers coming up this way, mm-hmm. Settling there during the pandemic. People were bringing their businesses to the hill. So it's kind of nice. There's mom and pop businesses everywhere. There's staples that have been there 40 years. There's others that are newer to the Hill that are kind of revamping and making our town a little bit more interesting. Which I kind of like speakeasy books, Raven bagels, like there's cool aspects to the town.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been to Idyllwild, so I've wanted to, I just never have. So I would love to check it out sometime.
Oh yeah. It's awesome. We have, we don't have as many doors for guests as we probably should for the amount of traffic that comes in. But I mean, there's really cool places to stay. Like I just heard from one of my realtor friends just yesterday that they stayed at Tuckeats Pines. They just did a full renovation, and it's kind of like a little mini resort with a bunch of little cabins on a large property. And
Tuckeats. How do you spell Tuckeats?
Tahquitz.
Oh, okay. I would have never guessed it.
And then you have like the Fireside Inn right in town where they have mini cabins. I think they have 9 that are individual cabins within their space. And then, of course, lots of cool little Airbnbs depending on what you want,
Don't you have an Airbnb or 2?
I have 3. We manage 6. Personally own 3.
Yeah, very cool. And then do you have, I've seen your, and I forget the name of it right now, something corner?
Jepson Corner.
Jepson Corner. Okay. That makes sense. Their last name.
Yes.
Is that an Airbnb or is that your office?
So we bought the building about 2 years ago and decided to do a full reno on it. It's a mixed use building. So it had residential and commercial. Okay. We turned the upstairs apartment into an Airbnb. That's the loft at Jepson Corner. And then we have a salon, a hair salon that was there that we inherited. And then we have the Idyllwild Board of Realtors office is in our building.
Cool.
And then one of the places was my HomeSmart office. But when I jumped to Compass, we decided to add a bathroom in that portion of the building and then turn it into another Airbnb. Okay. So it's a 1 bedroom, 1 bath now. Okay. And that's the Nest at Jepson Corner. Okay. So we still have a little area where we could do another office if we wanted to, but just kind of improving and giving the locals there that have been there a good rent because they keep increasing over time. And it's nice to be able to help the locals and then as well as offset those costs by doing short term. Yeah.
I love it. That's very cool. I got to come check it all out sometime. It all sounds really awesome. How about, can I put you on the spot a little bit? You tell me if you can do this. Cause I should have thought about this earlier, but do you have some of the data on both markets, like average days on market in Idyllwild, average price range, that kind of thing, and then versus Indio or wherever you want to say down there?
Well, right now, I would say we're probably at 60 to 90 days in Idyllwild.
Okay.
That's kind of where things have pushed around.
Is that different than what it was maybe 6 months ago or a year ago? And how
absolutely,
is that?
Absolutely.
How different?
Well, let's look at it this way. I would say maybe a year ago, we were hovering about 60 homes on average. 2 years ago, 26 homes. And so when you only have a small inventory, like 26 homes, anything new coming to market literally is going in a weekend.
So we're talking about per month, right?
Correct.
26.
No, yes, per month, 26 total. So that's not leaving a whole lot to negotiate with.
So they're still flying off the market.
Yes. So now we're in where we're not as saturated as we were before. I mean, the most amount of homes ever was like 220. Wow. But we're sitting at about 130.
Okay.
Now.
Okay. So what's the average?
Slower.
Yeah, inventory's low. I mean, that's
Inventory's low, but I mean, in the way of, hey, we're not going to be going under contract in 15 days.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be 60 to 90 days out. And if you're priced right and you're not chasing the market,
Right.
you know, that's what probably the average is for Idyllwild.
60 to 90.
Mm-hmm.
And then what's the average price of a house?
Medium home
family.
prices have adjusted a little bit, where we were in just under 700,000.
Mm-hmm.
We're now hovering just above 6.
Okay. Yep. That makes sense. And so when I interview people from across the country, this is the trend. You know, it's everywhere.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see those numbers or hear those numbers in, you know, it gives people a perspective. And then it also shows people that it's not just one person, one place, and one market, you know, saying it. It's really across the board. Now there are some places that are still maybe haven't quite gotten there yet as far as, but I mean, they all have low inventory. So, and everybody has high interest rates. So all that is everywhere, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the difference with the mountain communities, but we're starting to see it trickle. It's California, the Cal Fair plan, which is fire. So you have your normal insurance, and now you have secondary insurance for fire, and that has increased substantially over the last year. So
like thousands of dollars a year,
yes.
Right?
And that has an impact, you know, just as interest rates have an impact. But it's almost like for a mountain community like Idyllwild, you have multiple things creating an impact versus just the interest rates.
Yep. I didn't think of that. What is an annual policy for an average home there for the fire? 10,000?
Well, no. I pay commercial wise, I pay about 7,000 a year for the building, for the single family home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, just under 1,600 square feet. Our policy was 2,900 a year.
Okay.
So I think that depending on who you go to as well matters.
Yeah.
You know, your agent,
insurance agent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and what you bundle is going to help too.
Yeah, true. Bundle all your car and whatever else you can. What was I going to say? Are there some places that are not insurable, and so you have to get, what's it called? Is it called Cal Fire Insurance or Cal State Insurance? Like
California.
You know what I'm talking about? Is that what it is? That's what it is. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I haven't seen places uninsurable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just know that that's something we have to do. We have to have that policy if you own in Idyllwild. Okay. I mean, you can take the risk and not do it, but why?
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't had a huge fire in Idyllwild since probably 4 or 5 years ago with the Cranston fire. Mm-hmm. But again, that was someone coming from San Diego throwing flares out their window. Like that was a man-made fire.
Son of guns.
Right. But, you know, our fire departments, like I said, we're pretty on top of it. You know, we've been okay thus far. Yeah,
that's good. It's good that you have so many fire departments close by and there. So, okay. And then contrastly, how does that look in the Valley as far as days on market, average price? And I'm sure that differs per place, but
sure.
Can you give us an idea?
Yeah, I would say where typically the inventory was about 220 homes in the Valley on market in the craziness, you know, where people were, again, multi-bidding, depending on location. You're looking at less than 30 days on the market. Typically, you're coming on the market and you're gone in a weekend.
Yep.
Now we're looking at, again, it depends on where you're pricing your home, and it also depends on location. So I think you're seeing quality renovations or quality pride of ownership homes going quicker if they're priced right. You know, I'm still seeing homes in the Valley going after 2 weeks, depending on, you know, the need, because people have been looking, they've been waiting, right? And then you see where you would think homes that are priced right, that are under current market comps, sitting on the market for 90 to 120 days. Mm-hmm. And that's just the valley overall. But we're coming into our season out of summer, and we'll probably start to see a pickup there. But right now in the valley, it's really about price and quality.
Yeah. So would you say that, or is this, would you say this saying is accurate or true, that you can't underprice your home, but you can overprice your home?
Correct. I would say that people are a little bit more savvy as to what they're going to pay. I'm also seeing that buyers right now are looking for a deal, and they have leverage based on if they're getting a loan or not. So am I seeing many issues with appraisals or anything like that? No, we're staying pretty solid. Do I think that we're going to see increases in prices by leap and bounds? No. We're supposed to, or we're projected in the next year to go up by 24%.
Really?
So, yeah.
That's the biggest projection I've seen probably anywhere so far.
Right.
Well,
So we'll see what happens, but that's what is being called out right now. And my thing is, we'll see what happens. I mean, if prices are being priced well, quality of the home is good, location is good, there's going to be demand.
Wow. Sounds like people should be, that's an investment opportunity if you ask me.
Sure.
If it's going to go up even potentially 24% and it misses the mark by a lot and it's only 10.
Right.
10 would be amazing.
So good. Yes.
Yeah, that's super, super good.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good cue for me to plug you right here, is that if anybody is interested in investing some money or having a vacation home or a short-term rental situation, Paige is definitely the person you want to talk to in both those areas. So in the valley where the Palm Springs, Greater Palm Springs area, and or up the hill in the mountains of Idyllwild. I know Paige is amazing. I've sent her clients and we've worked together on different things, and all of her clients rave reviews because she's a top-notch professional. She is kind, she's wise, she's all of the things that you would want, and great communication, which is why lots of people do work with her and why she does so well. So highly recommend that if you are looking, or if you just want to maybe ask questions, people can get a hold of you and
absolutely. I'm always open to collaborate and chat and speak real estate, with people. I will kind of put in a little plug here. Something I'm rolling out because I've noticed in my business, and I think this goes hand in hand with seeing where your strength is and then implementing that in a bigger way for your business. I do get a lot of referrals. A lot of my business comes from referrals. So I have a program that I have implemented, and it's called Referrals for Life. And so if you're giving me a referral, it's 30% on the first time. But because I have such an amazing follow-up with my clients, they typically will buy more than one home with me. And if that referral came from you, you're getting 15% every time for the life of that client. And that's,
I love that,
by giving me that referral. So I think it's showing you that I have longevity with my clients, so that can be future paychecks for you.
Yeah. So great thing for agents out there to know. You're going to get paid forever on this client.
As long as you have a license, it's all you.
That's super cool. I've actually had that program too. And it's such a great value to give to people, and nobody's really doing it. So if you had a chance, as you as an agent out there had a chance to, give a referral to somebody and get paid one time, that's great, right? But then what if you just got paid every time? What if this person ends up being an investor or something and buying 10 or 15 properties, or buying and selling 15 properties? That's 30 times, so.
Right. Well, and I think the whole point of this is the business, right? You're getting into the business, but then in a certain part or a certain time in your business, you're looking, well, how do I leverage my knowledge? How do I leverage my skills? How do I leverage the contacts that I have, right? To get what we call mailbox or an income stream, mailbox money. And I think that this is a good way to give it back. It's giving you incentive, but it's also showing you that like, this isn't going to be a one-time deal. This is going to be a lifetime of deals if you connect.
Yeah, I love it. And what was I going to say about? Oh, we just did a referral situation together. What I did was I plugged you. Well, I have a friend and an associate in Denver that had people selling there. She's a real estate agent. And Monica Graves is her name. She's a beautiful person, and she's an author and a great leadership coach, all that. She had a client moving to Idyllwild, right? And they were selling in Denver, moving to Idyllwild. And then I plugged the two of you together, and you just closed on them, and it was amazing transaction, and everybody's so happy.
Yeah, I think that was an awesome, like by way of you, got connected to Monica. And I think she was like, oh, maybe wanting to go with someone through EXP, but knowing I knew Idyllwild. Now, the interesting part is they didn't purchase an Idyllwild. They ended up going to Lake Arrowhead, which is San Bernardino Mountains. But one and the same for me. I know that area as well, and I've sold several homes there. But finding the right home, not fitting them in a box if it doesn't fit well for them, but they sold in a mountain community and they moved to a mountain community. And I think overall, it happened to work out really, really
amazing. And for maybe I forgot about that or what, but Lake Arrowhead happens to be one of my favorite places. I like it even better than Big Bear. I mean, they're just different, but they're right next door to each other. But I spread my aunt's ashes at Lake Arrowhead.
Oh, really?
It's kind of a funny story because that's not legal, not legal to do. And I'm like trying to do it all sneaky, like on the morning of that we were leaving from the resort there. And, I'm trying to do it. And it's kind of weird. I don't know if people want to hear this, but I was like trying to get the ashes out, and I get it out and it's in a bag, like there's pretty box, and then you get it in a bag, and I'm trying to, and I say a thing, I'm real nervous, but I'm like, oh, I love Aunt Teresa, and here's this, and blah, blah, and I throw all the ashes, it blows all over me. I was like, oh, no, I'm like, oh, and I'm like, okay, love you, Teresa, and then we're like, see you, my friend, and we took off running and tried not to, it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah. Well, and the cool thing is I love that community because, it's kind of different in the sense it has the lake.
Yes.
It has Big Bear does too, but this one is a little bit more exclusive.
Yep.
And if you're buying property there, you want to buy a property with lake rights. Word to the wise, agents who are selling, who maybe not know everything there, make sure that the houses that you're buying there have lake rights.
Good call. And does that mean like it touches the lake or that they get to use the lake exclusively?
They get to use the lake.
So there are some properties there that don't have lake rights.
Correct.
Very good to know. See, this is the reason that I have you on here, to spread the knowledge.
Right.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, how about we can wrap this up? We're about out of time. Maybe give us a couple of sentences or a synopsis or an overview of the two areas you work in, and to wrap up, summarize this, what we've talked about today.
Sure. I would say if you're looking for a quaint community that is really tight-knit, they really look after each other. But, they have tourists that come in and fill up the town and really give back, then Idyllwild's for you. I think if you're looking for a community that has a lot of options for you, great family area, great retirement area, I think the desert would be for you. And we're continuing to grow. We're expanding. Tons of builders. We're starting to expand towards Blythe now, which is, pretty far out. But, and with the Disney community coming in, that's a huge option. If you're thinking in a couple of years, you want to settle somewhere in a resort lifestyle, the desert can be your home. So, and lots of activities. Yeah.
And probably lots of pools too, right?
Pools, beaches, wave. I guess they're bringing out the wave, professional surfing. Out here, we now have the hockey team. There's a lot of stuff going in the Coachella Valley. Definitely good for you to plug into. still a golf resort, if that's what you're into. Lots of concerts, and you can be anywhere you want to in a very short period of time.
I love it. All of it sounds really cool. Very good. There's a little bit of everything for everyone. It sounds like, and in the 2 areas that you cover, or even more of that and beyond, right? So you're a wealth of knowledge, but it just sounds like there really is a little something for everybody there. So anybody that needs help in that area of California, I just meant California, but anywhere in California, that area of California, please reach out to Paige. And we're both here as real estate professionals to help people and love on people. And so if anybody out there watching has questions about real estate, and that's, I would say, even from a client or an agent perspective, we're both here to help give knowledge and help lift people up in any way that we can, whether that's an agent wanting to see how they can do better as an agent, or maybe move into the community that you're in or one of the communities that I'm in. We're here to help with all that. And of course, our wonderful clients, if anybody's interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate, reach out to Paige. She's got you covered on all bases. Awesome. So thanks so much for coming today, Paige.
Absolutely.
It's been a blast.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. We'll have to do it again soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Okay. Thanks so much for coming today, everybody.